In this video, I would like to draw a shape that, for example, from the front looks like a cylinder where we cut the bottom part away, and from the side, it looks like we cut away those corners also in a circular path. And here, for example, I have my cube. So, for example, the side will be this, and the front will be this part. Okay, so what I will do first is actually project, for example, my diagonals and my midpoints, and then I have my minor axis, for example, here. So this one is my minor axis, or like I sometimes call it, z-axis. Okay. So we know somewhere here, again, 1/3 points, I have to hit it actually because this is very distorted, specifically down here. You can see that's going to be tricky. It's easier to start on the back face. So, for example, when I try to subdivide this, so kind of like here, I'm just ghosting over, so somewhere there, a 1/3 point probably will be there. So maybe let's make a line from the vanishing point. So I have 1 point here and 1 point there, there, and there, and there. There are my points for my arc. So let's see how good we can sketch over this. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this was actually pretty easy. That's the reason why I started there, and then I can actually, with a line tool through this point, go forward till I hit my front diagonal and there. And then this way, as you can see, I found my other points on my diagonals, and I have my end and midpoint. And this helps me to accurately re-sketch kind of like that curve, because this motion here is kind of difficult. There, this line we have to pull down a lot, because this face kind of rotates to the left side and gets smaller. The ellipse shape will look different. Okay, so we have taken care of the front view. That's good. There. Let's actually make the side view. So I'm going to work on my front face primarily. So let's actually there create our line work, diagonals. There's my vertical part, and let's see, midpoint, so 1/3 probably there. So from this right vanishing point, a line along the face of my cube, cutting this point, it will cut the other diagonal on the face, and there plotted out my 3 points. And that's complete rubbish because I need to do it the opposite direction. So we have to go here this way. Whoa, wrong tool. There, there. So probably here. And there we have it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And let's see, and ghost over it. And cross fingers. And nope. And let's say this is off. Nope, let's not say this is okay. Okay, I guess then my 1/3 points are actually not good, because at the end I'm always turning this thing way too flat, so I'm on the fly adjusting this a little bit. Yeah, you see that looks a little bit better. Okay, so be gone. They were wrong. Okay. Let's maybe scale that a little bit. There. Let's see it. Okay, perfect. So let's see what we have. Front view and side view. And this one, maybe I make a little bit lower. So what I need to work with when I want to create kind of like this shape, I need to have certain points. I'm going to mark this right now. So I need to have this point because the highest peak there and the highest peak on the bottom. And then I have the lowest peak there. And I might have to quickly create this reference line to there. And there's that other point. Okay, now I have 4 points. So essentially we could be able to draw that shape with it. So maybe let's eyeball this a little bit. So I come down, go up, go to there, and then you have to go this way, and then goes up, and it returns and feeds back into it. And let's connect this. So, and if we actually want to draw a midline, then the midline would be kind of like this. Zip. You see? So it's kind of like an unlimited sign we have to sketch. And how much you see, this one will be decided basically by how much of this bigger face you actually see. So the smaller, for example, this face is, the less of this opening you will see. The bigger this face, obviously you can look more into it. Okay, but as I mentioned before, we can eyeball many things, but that can lead very often to wrong assumptions, which is you shouldn't eyeball such things. So let's actually bring this one back one more time. There. And there. Okay. So what we did in the previous videos with cutting one bent surface with another curve, we do exactly now the same here. So this arc, basically I would like to overlay over my other cylinder. So think about there that actually we have a cylindrical shape and we would like to cut certain parts out of it. So it's easier to see. Let's hide this a little bit so you know what we are working on. Okay, so let's go to here. Let's maybe work just with red so you will see it easier. And for example, I would like to know this point, or maybe let's go to here, this point to inside the cube. Where would this be when I have this point referencing it? And this looks maybe confusing right now. So let me show you how I would solve this problem. So for example, I would draw myself a nice red line. And the reason for this red line is that you see these points are projected onto my vertical cube. So from the other side, I can do the same. You see this point now I project it over to there. And there we don't hardly even really see it. Okay. So when I draw a line to there, now I don't really know if I move this point along this ray to the vanishing point, where is this point? So that's the reason why I go over to there, and there it is. Perfect. So now, for example, I have 1, 2, 3 points already. So this actually can help me a lot understanding how I have to draw it. Let's make this one more time. In the front. So let's say I would like to have maybe this point. So I draw a line over, over, and over. So you see this point goes to there, and bring it back. Now you see this curve is kind of off, so it will probably be more there, so I have to adjust for that incorrectness of my original blue arc. So here if I, where is it? There. If I move this one slightly over. So let's see if I'm roughly assuming this correctly. Yep, see, I eyeballed that quite good. Okay. So now maybe let's number those a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, and we have 4. Then in the back, for example, we have a point. So let's do the same there. So this would be 5. And 6 I could do as well. So zip, coming over. Nope. That would be 6. Okay, let's hide all the stuff so you kind of see the sequence I have to draw through. So coming down, 2, 3, cutting 4. Oops, I slipped. 5, 6, 7. Maybe let's try it this way. And then here now I have to go over this way. See? That's kind of like the path you need to have. So actually, you know what, guys? Let's do one thing. I'm just curious how good later my accurate construction is sitting, how I would envision this one if I would have to freehand sketch it. Okay, well, let's keep that one for the moment. No, I'm too... Oh, no. Whoa. So you know how wrong actually? I'm actually pretty good in the back. That is actually good, but you see the front, I totally guessed the wrong way. Okay. See? The way how you think, how it should be, and how it has to be, two different things very often. Okay, so now we have the front part. Tricky thing is now the back part. So how do I bring, for example, this distance over to there? So that's maybe a little bit tricky, but actually not really. So you see here, here's 5. I follow this line and go over. And then there where it cuts this point, that's actually where my next line would be. So there, go over from 5, there it would be. So this would be 8, 9. So let's do this now with 6. Zip, zip. Just straight following these lines a little bit. There. So 8 would be there. That doesn't really look right, actually. Let's see where I made a mistake. Whoop. Oh yeah, of course, I used the wrong line. There's 9. Okay, let's better erase it. There. So, now there we have already enough points, for example, to plot that curve. Midpoint is here. Purple will be like this, going up, and then it bends over. There. So, and the next tricky thing now, this is always the thing that throws most people off, because essentially this loops back. So let's see where those points maybe might be. And on this ray, let's see there. Looks like coming over, getting over. Yeah, so this is 9. Here was 10, and then this is actually 11, and now we have to find 12. 12 would be this way, back. There's 12. So you see? So from there... Whoa. Kind of like, might look like this. Let's see. No, nah, close, but also there I didn't push it out enough. Okay, let's make another new overlay to try to draw the shape at once much cleaner. And there it is. I messed up a little bit on the top. Maybe put a line down. Let's also put a mesh line down so we can see that shape a little bit better. And I use my box as a reference to sketch this arc in there. Perfect. Inside all the other stuff. And there it is. So these shapes are pretty hard to draw, specifically when you need to be very careful with construction lines, construction planes, etc. And the smaller your drawing gets, the easier you run into the problem of making a mistake. And, well, the solution to that is simply try to draw bigger. But the problem then, if we simply try to draw everything bigger, is like, well, where do we put our vanishing points to? Because if this is our page, then, well, you know, my vanishing points are here and there. So you might think, well, you know what? I can simply eyeball them. That's true. And chances are really good that they will not be eyeballed correctly. So then your drawing is going to be wrong. So what do we do? Well, from this point, maybe I would suggest this. Simply create yourself a nice underlay. So for example, double the amount of paper, and then there we put down our vanishing points on the horizon line there. So for example, here and here, because now we can still kind of like ghost to the vanishing points, but we see actually where we have to ghost to, and that's really the key difference. Now, if these lines at a long distance are a little bit off, it's not going to be that much of a problem compared to when you have a small distance to draw and then they're off because that actually will look easier, and not look easier, you will easily, well, no, you will quicker see actually that something is wrong. Okay, so that's, for example, one way. Simply try now to draw on a bigger area and put your vanishing points onto an underlay outside your drawing. The second tip is actually make yourself reference objects. For example, cut the piece out of paper, bend it, and rotate it in front of your eyes so you can see really how it has to look. You saw that in my demo, what I assumed was not actually what I constructed. And again, that is, you have to get over that your eyes can easily be fooled. Trust your construction, don't trust your eyes. Now, if you're good with computer stuff, so let's say a 3D software, you can also make yourself interesting like demo pieces, so digitally. So you see here, I have the shape from the side and the shape from the front. This is, for example, the surface I cut out. Because if you take a look from the top, look at this, it doesn't even really look like an ellipse. You see actually how flat these parts are. So knowing these details is really important, because essentially when I draw this one, I know I really go actually perspectively along the y-axis and not like a triangle. And then you can also rotate, for example, your view, and nicely pay attention to how much, for example, of this opening do I see. Now if I turn on maybe my wireframe, so here and there and there, now you can see actually those midpoints I have. Really nice way to study, for example, how something has to look. So if you have a drawing partially done and you need a certain part to be constructed, quickly jump into 3D, build a part, rotate it roughly into the view how it should look like, so you can see maybe how your construction should turn out. For example, here I have the opposite shape, so see how linear actually this looks, and how quickly this comes forward and backwards. And that's actually because from the top now this is an ellipse. So if I flip forward and backwards, see, and that's actually quite interesting, which I didn't even know. And specifically here now you see this shoots out a lot. When from the side it's elliptical, and if we go to the other view, so from the top, it is an ellipse. This comes radically forward and swings really quickly back. There actually you can kind of like see there's kind of like an arc on nearly on a straight plane. So if we go to side here and let's put in a construction plane, scale it up, and let's rotate it, and let's see. Yeah, that's even nearly parallel. So this shape actually will be the easiest one to draw, because there, this way I already knew that the arc that goes from one point to the midpoint and back is really just on a plane. But here this is all arced, so it's not as easy. This one actually has an interesting other effect if we do it this way. So we cut it out, and there you can better even see this unlimited sign. Rotate around. So again, if you have a drawing and you need to construct a certain part really accurate, maybe put another sheet of paper over it, and then on that part construct the more difficult thing, and then see if it's correct, because you don't necessarily want to draw right into your final drawing and then mess it up, and then you have to basically start from scratch.